welcome to another edition of Behind the Book. It's Gil Alexander from the Vegas Stats and Information Network. Jay Rude, Vice President, Race and Sports, MGM Resorts International. Jay, you and I have had the opportunity to do shows from Borgata in New Jersey this year, Beau Rivage in Mississippi. None quite as beautiful as where we are right now, may I say. No offense to those guys. Shadow Creek Golf Course, site of the big match, the match. Tiger versus Phil this Friday. We'll talk about that later on the show.
Yeah, we've got the general manager, Monty, here to give us some insight.
Monty Montgomery, later on the show, to break down some bets.
Yes.
Maybe inform some of our wagers, if you will. Shall we start with some Turkey Day football, though?
Turkey Day, it's the best kind of football.
Turkey Day football, 3 games beginning in the morning, traditional Thanksgiving Day site at Detroit. It's the Bears coming into town to face the Lions. Bears are 4-point favorites. The total's 46. The Bears just played on Sunday night, beat the Vikings, held on for a victory. So roughly between the end of that game and the beginning of this game, which is first thing on Thursday morning, it's about, quick math, 84 hours between games. That's a crazy turnaround for an NFL team.
Yeah, well, and you got to travel to there to be there early, because it's an early game for Detroit,
Yeah.
But it's this is going to be an interesting matchup because the Bears are playing so good right now. I mean, Khalil Mack is just
ridiculous.
Everything as advertised for the Bears.
Yeah.
I don't think they could be any happier than what they've got with him. The production out of him. This is going to be a game for us. Obviously Detroit struggling. I think they were the beneficiary of some questionable calls there at the end of the game. You put that game into overtime, and I think Carolina is probably a $1.40 favorite to win the game going into overtime. They didn't choose to do that. They poorly executed the 2-point conversion, and there you go. Detroit got a home win. Good for them. I don't think the bettors are going to take much into this week. Normally bettors see something, they bet something. I think the bettors saw the Bears actually are a legit contender for this division and to be a tough out in the playoffs. So we're going to need Detroit at home. I'm hoping there's some magical turkey magic that will show up for me, and we'll be able to keep this game to a field goal because I think we're going to need Detroit big. Yeah,
Chicago, as we said, 4-point favorites right now. What Jay was referring to, Carolina's very curious decision, head coach Ron Rivera's very curious decision to go for 2, down 1 at Detroit last week, sort of bailed out the Lions from a losing streak. Lions 4-6, but the Bears atop the NFC North. 4-point favorites on the road to kick things off. Turkey Day. It's Behind the Book right here from Shadow Creek, brought to you by the Play MGM app. Back at Shadow Creek, where we're broadcasting Behind the Book this week, brought to you by the Play MGM app. It's Gil Alexander from VSiN. Jay Rude from MGM. Cannot wait to talk golf with Monty Montgomery later.
Yeah.
And could you get me on the course maybe one day?
Yeah, we'll figure that out. We'll probably have to come out when it's 120 when there's not a lot of people out here. But yeah, we'll figure it out. I mean, Monty, he said he doesn't play with anybody that shoots over 85, so we probably won't be playing with him.
Maybe not. Let's get back to our Thursday Thanksgiving days, continuing second of 3 games on Thanksgiving. Once the greatest rivalry in all the NFL, the Washington Redskins, the Dallas Cowboys, many, many years ago. This is a very curious line. I understand why it's 7.5 in favor of the Cowboys at home. Total's a very low one for this day and age in the NFL at 41. Obviously, the big news this week, the Redskins in defeat against the Texans. They had a big injury, catastrophic injury to the leg of their starting quarterback, Alex Smith. It's Colt McCoy now behind center for the Redskins. But here's the thing. And the Cowboys, by the way, 2 big wins in a row, just looking good at 5-5 in this NFC East.
Playing much better right now, too.
But the Redskins, 2 starting guards out for the year. Wide receivers that are out for the year and been out for weeks. Now the injury to Alex Smith, and so the betting public is going to say, oh yeah, 7.5, they have no chance. But Colt McCoy gets it done, Jay. I'm taking the points here.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think you're going to be in the minority, that's for sure, because I think the public is going to see, the injury to the starting quarterback. You got a backup coming in who is, if you know the NFL, you know Colt's story, capable quarterback by any stretch of the imagination. But Cowboys coming off of 2 really good wins. I think Aikman was raving about their offensive line in this last game. Their offensive line is looking really well. Their defense is starting to play better. I think we've got a perfect storm here from my side of the counter. We're going to see nothing but Cowboy money. I think this game could run up a little bit. It could stay tempered because I think the community in which you circulate in, the Sharp community, I do think they're going to find value in the Redskins plus 7.5 because the Cowboys have been relatively inconsistent. I think that's where the value is going to fall. The 41 is going to be interesting because I think that's a straight over bet for every single average public player.
Yeah, that will be interesting. That's very low in today's day and age. I'll say it again, if you can take away one thing from this show football-wise, I think it's the fact that quarterback changes tend to be overvalued by the public better.
Yep.
If it's Rodgers, I understand. If it's Brady, that's another thing. But Alex Smith to Colt McCoy, it's just not that big of a drop.
Colt has to be 80%. If he's 80% of what you had, you're in pretty good shape. Now, if it's a 50% drop-off, then it's time to rally the troops. But I think, run the ball. You got Adrian Peterson. Nothing wrong with him. He's looking like a guy from years ago. So control the clock, and they might stay under that 41, which is going to be a big part of our profitability on that game.
Huge game in the NFC East. If the Redskins win it, they've got a 2-game lead. If they lose, it's all tied up between the Cowboys and the Redskins at 6-5. I guessed 6 is the line on my show this morning. You're taking me through the 7. You're giving me 7.5. I'm all about the Redskins on Thanksgiving Day at Dallas. Back on Behind the Book, it's Gil Alexander, Jay Rude. It's all brought to you by the Play MGM app. Jay, where folks can bet at their own leisure, wherever they might be. Restaurants, in their rooms. They don't have to stand in lines anymore.
I mean, Tiger and Phil might be getting a bet on, college football on Friday, when they're on their match out here. Who knows?
How would you feel if you were back there looking behind the desk at your perch, and you're like, oh, I think Tiger's making a move here on one of these football games?
That'd be great.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm sure he enjoys having action on a football game, just like every other red-blooded American should.
Yeah, we have no idea if he'll do that. We're just saying that would be kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
There's 3 football games on Thursday, the third of which, the nightcap, if you will.
Yes.
Atlanta at New Orleans. The total is 59. And New Orleans, tell the folks, Jay, we saw some real live bookmaking happening right here at Shadow Creek.
Yes, you did.
It sounded like it was 13, and you were not happy with that number. And what did you do?
So we were calling to get an update on where we stood on the point spreads, and it's 13. This game's got all the makings, especially after what the Saints have done. They've thrashed their last 2 opponents. Mm-hmm. The total is set, enormously high. I said, let's get some money on Monday so we don't have to sweat the game on Sunday. We're still going to have to sweat the game because no matter how much money I take on Monday, that's even money coming in. Sunday, when all those parlays hit, I'm paying out 10-1, 20-1. Hopefully I'm not paying any 11-teamers on Sunday afternoon. If I'm paying some 11-teamers, it's going to be a bad week. But we've only paid a few of them this year. But, I think the Saints train is in full effect right now, and everyone is going to be on them until they come off the rails, which doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon.
So what you did, in other words, sort of translate, Jay, you said, give me the hook. You put it at 13.5 to induce Atlanta Falcons money early in the week so that when you know that Saints money is going to come in game day, you'll have less liability.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% think that we're going to go to 13.5 at some point between now and Saturday. Let's be the first in the pool, someone's got to dive in.
All right. And you're not afraid to take a bet.
No, that's the reason why we're doing this a little bit, because most of our big 6-figure or larger bets will come on Saturday or Sunday.
We talked about the 41 being awfully low for the Cowboys and Redskins. 59. The only thing we've seen higher than that is this Monday night game, this past Monday night game with the Chiefs and the Rams. 59. How do you think that'll be bet?
Over.
Over machine. Right?
Over. Just like this game for Monday night. This recent Monday night. Over. I mean, you're hard-pressed to find someone to dig into their pocket and pull out money to bet on the under in the KC Rams game, and I think we're going to have the same situation here. Might temper it a little bit based off of what happened, in the Falcons' last game. Kind of got a slow start. I think they were under 10 points at halftime, so, but everyone's instinct is to bet over. Everybody wants to see points. Everybody wants to see fireworks.
Saints have.
I like it when it's quiet. They grind the ball out. Everybody's just sitting in their seats, watching a defensive show.
Falcons have cluster injuries in the secondary, so Drew Brees, you would think, would just feast on this, no pun intended, on Thanksgiving. The Saints have scored on about 65% of their drives this year. Just to give you an idea, perspective-wise, 53% is the record by the 2007 Patriots, who, of course, came very close to going undefeated the whole way through the Super Bowl, but lost in the Super Bowl. And then, how many 3-and-outs all year for the Saints? 10. 10, that's it all year.
Wow.
Juggernaut.
Yeah.
Saints favored by 13.5, Jay, thanks to you.
And Sean Payton is, playing his best Steve Spurrier part, He's putting the points on even late in the game.
Yeah.
44-7. They're still trying to, really, score on their opponents, which, I guess it's fun. If you've got the horses and you can do it, why not?
Saints beat the Eagles, of course, 48-7, the worst defeat ever for a defending Super Bowl champion. Talking golf coming up live from Shadow Creek. It's Behind the Book, brought to you by the Play MGM app. Back on Behind the Book, brought to you by the Play MGM app. It's Gil Alexander from VSiN, Jay Rude, Vice President, Race and Sports at MGM Resorts International. Of course, Jay, we're out here at Shadow Creek for a reason.
Yes.
And that's for the match, Phil Mickelson, Tiger Woods on Friday. Before we get into the gambling implications of that, let's bring in our guest here. He is the general manager here at Shadow Creek, Monty Montgomery. Thanks for being on the show today. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.
Before we get into maybe your thoughts about who might win this and just some of the other prop bets we have, just talk about the course in general. Shadow Creek, always named as one of the greatest golf courses, not only in this country but in the world. What makes it that way, in your opinion?
Well, Shadow Creek's a hidden gem in the desert. 350 acres that nobody really is, not too many people see. Only a few number of people have been out here. Lush trees, grass, lakes. It's just not Vegas-like. So when you come out here, if somebody drops you out here and you had no idea this was here, you wouldn't know this was Las Vegas.
I think you're in the middle of Georgia. I mean, it's very Augusta-like in a lot of areas.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
it is beautiful,
very
Jay.
Augusta-like.
So, I mean, that makes it different than Shadow Creek is totally different in that respect than any other golf course in town because it's not a desert golf course.
Are you setting it up in a way for the match that is, let's put it this way, is there a lot of thought that goes into how each pin is set up, how just the course layout in general and how it's going to set up for, and really as it compares or as it pertains to the way that these guys have strengths and weaknesses?
Well, the golf course is being set up by the PGA Tour, along with our help out here at Shadow Creek. But they're looking at strategy for certain players, more TV kind of drama. Of course, there's certain holes out there that are more difficult than others, just like any other golf course. But there are certain shots that the skills of Phil and Tiger, they're trying to put those into place for when they're on the golf course. It gives the best show.
Yeah, and I think they're trying to make me sweat on my hole-in-one prop that we're offering at 100-1. I think, you said number 5. That I'm going to be glued to that and very interested in what the results are on number 5 because short, you said, I think 140 yards, probably the most obtainable opportunity for a hole-in-one on the course. So I'll get my sweating out early, hopefully, on that particular one.
Determine your mood the rest of the day.
Yeah, normally a very difficult hole. And they're going to have a shot at a hole-in-one. That's going to be their best
How does
chance.
par 3 set up? Is it just a carry a valley, or any water involved? Or
We call that hole the abyss. So you tee off across, and it goes down about 80 feet. It's filled with a bunch of trees, and then the green on the other side.
Oh,
But
yes,
it normally plays
it comes
about
up very
210
hard up
yards.
to the green.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
But they're going
That's
to
a
be
great
playing
hole.
it from about 140 compared to 210. So that's your hole to watch. I'm sorry.
One-
Right,
140.
right. 140
What could
compared
go
to
wrong?
210. Shorten it up for the best players on the planet. That makes a lot of sense.
Monty, what's your favorite hole on the golf course? And, or even maybe better, what's the hole that you think sets up the best for Phil and Tiger from a side bet standpoint, the whole run up to this event? We've been hearing a lot from Tiger, specifically, Phil as well, about side bets taking place between those two throughout this event.
Well, of course, one's a lefty, one's a righty. So the front 9 is a lot of dog legs to the left, which is going to suit Phil because for his little cut. And a draw in golf is a very difficult shot to hit for a righty. And, of course, a draw for a lefty is very difficult as well. So front 9 is basically going to set up for Phil. Back 9's going to set up for Tiger. The back 9's a lot of dog legs to the right. Holes, I would say the first hole in match play is always a crucial hole. Whoever gets up first, whoever wins that first hole in match play has great odds of winning the match. I would look at number 4, big dog leg left par 5. Water all the way down the left side, beautiful hole. That'll be a difficult hole for Tiger off the tee. I would say also number 7, dog leg left, another par 5. those are the holes that are going to be crucial for Tiger to hang in there with Phil, because Phil's going to go ahead and, try to pump that drive out there. Tiger might have to hit 3-wood to get better position.
So let me ask you a question. I think you kind of know these two guys fairly well, right? As well as some people could. How much psychological warfare do you think is going to take place during this match?
Well, I think that's the whole match.
Yeah.
It's who can ever talk the most trash and get away with it. I mean,
and how much do you think that when the person that goes up one first of an advantage is that for the person to catapult to the match, to win the match?
Really, I don't think. These guys have been doing this for so long, and they're so good that it is crucial to get off to a good start, though. If somebody falls 2 down, it'll be tough to bring it back.
Yeah.
I mean, they're so good that when you get 2 down, it's a difficult time to try to catch up.
Let me ask you one more question. Do you anticipate that this match could go into overtime?
Oh, yeah, I could see this easily going to the last hole.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are the best in the world, and they're going to be going at each other. They're not going to want to lose. So I can see this going to 18 for sure.
Yeah.
And I can see it going another extra holes for sure.
All that is great. But we, of course, operate under the currency of making some money here.
Right.
And you have really gotten in the trenches, Jay. You've done all the scouting, hole by hole.
Thanks to this gentleman.
Thanks to
He helped
Monty
me quite a
himself.
bit.
Monty, stick around. We want to actually get your opinion on some actual bets, if
Okay.
you would.
Sure.
Monty Montgomery, general manager right here at Shadow Creek on Behind the Book, brought to you by the Play MGM app. Back on Behind the Book, brought to you by the Play MGM app from Shadow Creek. Gil Alexander from VEASAN, Jay Rude from MGM, and Monty Montgomery, general manager here at Shadow Creek. For the bettors out there, before we get into the props, the vital stats of the course, length, grass, and what is match play for the uninitiated?
We're looking at about 7,000 yards they're going to be playing it from. Grass is all basically rye in the fairways and rough and bent greens. And if you're looking at match play is hole by hole. Low score on each hole is the winner.
And Jay, 7,000 yards, but your par 5 is a 140.
140, yeah.
Yeah.
No, par three. It was
number
140.
5, excuse me, yes.
They shortened it from 210. But
Yeah.
the other thing, too, is when it's match play, you can have one horrendous hole, but you're still in it. That's the great thing about match play, right? They could have a snowman, as I call it, put up an 8 on a par 5, and you're just down 1 point. Doesn't matter. Still opportunity to come back and play and win the match. It's not as like stroke play where you could put up a score like that and really be out of it.
Correct. You can shoot, you can have a 10, 12 on a hole.
Right, and you might even see these guys just sort of concede, right? Say, all right, we're done.
And that's what'll happen. They'll either say it's good, pick it up, let's go to the next hole, and there you go.
And are these guys, are they going to be walking throughout the match as well?
Yeah, they'll have their
traditionally?
caddies. They'll have Joe and then Joe Lacob for Tiger, and you're going to have Tim Mickelson.
So no
Phil's
cart.
brother. No cart.
Yeah, and this, believe it or not, I mean, this is a really hilly course as well. So it's. I mean, these guys obviously walk courses for a living, but it's not an easy course to walk, all day long.
Give me 3 or 4 holes, or any of the holes that stand out to you that might really make a difference to the outcome of this.
Well, the most important hole, the first hole. Whoever wins the first hole gets one up. Will be a big decider in the match. I would say hole 4, hole 9. 9's a nice little par 4 that's got a creek running all the way down the left, a little tricky par 4.
Is that Shadow Creek?
Yeah.
Okay.
14, 15, and then, of course, if they make it to 17 and 18, those 2 holes are very risk-reward holes.
If they make it.
Let me ask you a question. How do you like your Phil bet if they get to 18?
Well, I think somebody that, don't put this on me, but I think somebody's going to eagle 18. It's an eagle hole.
Wow.
We got a pretty
Very
good
nice.
pin on 18 that's kind of funnels in. I think somebody's going to eagle this final hole.
And 18's right over your right shoulder, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right over the
That's where
right
it's
shoulder.
It could
Yeah.
possibly all end.
Yeah.
All right, so Jay, you and Monty have gotten into the weeds on this hole by hole, You have made the numbers, and again, we said this last week. For those who don't know, Jay is not just some suit somewhere. He's getting into the trenches with this.
That's right.
As you did with rodeo, by the way.
Yes.
All right. So, what are some of the offerings? What are some of the things that might entice folks to set down their money?
So yeah, what we've put up was we tried to keep it as interactive for the player throughout the whole time, right? So we're going to do live match wagering as it goes along. We're going to be updating that as they play hole by hole, but we also offering every hole to win. You know, it's a mini contest within each hole. So generally, the tie is going to be the favorite on all these holes. And you know, you're going to be looking to get probably 2 to 1 or a little bit better on each golfer to win a certain hole. So, you know, because I think a halve is going to be the strong result for most of these holes. Probably, I would say 18 holes, you're probably going to see at least, you know, probably 12 halves, I would say, or, you know, maybe 11 halves. There's going to be 4 or 5 holes that really stand out that somebody wins, and that's where the match is going to be won.
And of course, prop bets as well. Who will be ahead after 9 holes? Tiger a slight favorite. They're minus 120. Phil at even money after 9.
And the tie is a big juicy price that you apparently like.
I do at 5 to 1 in that one. Who will be up 1 first, as we discussed, and then of course
bet.
The hole in one. And it's a yes at what number?
100 to 1.
100 to 1. Not exactly as much bang for your buck as you'd like, but 100 to 1 nonetheless. And you'll take any amount of money. You'll take $5 on this.
$5, $1,000. Want a little more than that? Come see me.
You'll take $1,000. You'll take a dime on this. $500,000 if they sink a hole in one on any of these.
100,000.
100,000.
100,000.
No, but if you take 1,000 and at 100 to 1, 100,000.
Right.
That's right. But you'll take any limit. You'll take as much on this as possible.
I would take $2.5 million on this.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you take $5.
It'll make hole number 5 very interesting, but yes.
Yeah.
So Monty, then
fun.
the question becomes: if you were betting this, if you had, let's say we lived in a bizarro world. Let's say no one's watching here, and you had to make a bet. Would you just bet on who wins the whole thing, or do one of those interest you, perhaps?
Oh, I always jump on some of those side bets for sure. But yeah, I'm gonna. I'll be betting this for sure.
Tiger is right now at minus 210 to win this whole thing. Phil plus 175 coming back. By the way, that's up from where did you open this? Minus 110?
Opened at minus 125 on Tiger. So yeah, I mean, I think there's a little bit of value in Phil, obviously, in this because the public has bet Tiger up because he had that nice late run.
Yeah.
You know, won the PGA Championship Tour event. So a lot more recency. Didn't look so great in the Ryder Cup, but no American looked great in the Ryder Cup either. So can't hold him too much on that. So public has really pushed this price up from the perception that Tiger is maybe got his groove back.
Got his groove back. I got it at minus 160. I am in that range now where I'm debating whether I buy back Phil just to lock in something at plus 175. Don't know what I'm going to do. Monty, I'm not letting you off the hook. If you were forced to bet Tiger or Phil, who might you go at that price?
I'm going to go with underdog this time.
Oh.
And I'm going to take the underdog just because of the price. If you can get plus
That's
170 on.
This gentleman works for MGM Resorts for a reason. He knows value when he sees it.
Bets numbers, not teams.
Yes.
People in this case.
These guys are too good. I mean, this is match play. Anybody can win. If I can get $1.70 out of Phil, I'm taking it.
$1.75 is where Phil is right there. It's the match. It's on Friday. Right here from beautiful Shadow Creek. General Manager Monty Montgomery. Monty, thank you so much for spending the time with us.
Thank you.
Beautiful course. I hope to get on it one day.
Yes.
Yeah, you know the right guy.
Do I? Do I, Monty?
You know the right guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Live right here from Shadow Creek. It's Behind the Book, brought to you by the Play MGM app.